Hi, I'm Mark Montgomery, founder and CEO of KYield. I wanted to share an exciting new program for the white label KOS, which is our flagship enterprise AI operating system at KYield that has been under R&D for 27 years. It was the first and still only um, enterprise operating system of its kind, or a business operating system. And we'll get into, for those that are not familiar with it, we'll get into a little bit more detail. This presentation is also viewable and downloadable on our website. So that will be posted here by the time you see this. Um, and so it's for those not familiar with the white label, this is a little definition here from Investopedia. White label products are sold by companies with their own branding and logo, but the products themselves are manufactured by a third party. The end product appears as though it has been produced by the purchaser. So we all see this in grocery stores. It's become quite common, but it's also used in electronics, hardware, and software as a way for companies to essentially save a lot of money and upfront capital expense in not sort of attempting to reproduce the wheel. So you don't have to manufacture, don't have to invest in the R&D. And specifically to AI, it's in our product, we were way ahead of anyone else in the concept of enterprise AI, or a business operating system augmented with artificial intelligence. In fact, it was in many years, we knew it would be many years before it'd be technically viable. Now it's been mostly tested as much as we can do without testing across, actual organizations. And it's technically viable and surprisingly affordable. The last 10 years, we've had such huge increases in performance and lower costs. So let's go ahead and dig in this. So the first universal business AI operating system. It's very unusual, one of a kind. It's our focus is precision data management, focused on high quality data. That's a patented core system that is a precision data management. It's pre-optimized for artificial intelligence, enterprise-wide governance, security, and productivity. A lot of focus on that now over the last couple of years because of the problems and regulations and et cetera, security problems with artificial intelligence, especially LLMs, large language model and chatbots. It's tailored to the needs of each entity, according to each entity. So there's a KOS for the whole enterprise, which is the enterprise license. But there's also Dana, which is a digital assistant that is for every employee in the organization. And that can be extended to end consumers, right? And so this ability to have a white label, or with your own logo, your own company logo, like you developed it like it's yours, is a powerful option. It's a very, very good option. It's what I would do if I were a Fortune 500 CEO, especially in certain scenarios we'll get into. End-to-end precision data management, that's what enables artificial intelligence. There still isn't enough awareness about that in boardrooms and at the board level, especially. But the quality of data is what enables the accuracy and the performance of your artificial intelligence system. And the lack of quality data causes all the problems, most of the problems. So that's critically important. Much lower cost than large language models. So we employ, if it's an organization with vast, some scale of data, then we would use LLMs, but in most cases, we don't need them. We can use small language models and other methods to, and we're very, we're very restrictive on what we use for generative AI. So there's several different functions in the KOS. Generative AI is only one of them, and it's actually not the most important or most valuable to companies due to the hype over the last couple of years. People being introduced to NLP and chatbots. They're not aware of it, but it's absolutely true. Much higher level accuracy than possible with LLMs. And the ultimate is achieve a KLO, continuously adaptive learning organization. And that's how you compete and how you stay competitive and remain competitive. And the end result is competitive sovereignty, adaptability, and growth. And we'll see a few examples of that. So the basic white label program, license your own branded EAI operating system, our KOS. It can be delivered turnkey at surprisingly low cost. So there is investment that's required to do that, a commitment, a financial commitment. But in some cases, we can do it in a few months' time. In other cases, a year, depending on how much tailoring that needs to be done for, depending on what the customer wants and the scenarios that are used. Some need considerable customization for devices or autos or something like that we'll get into. But the cloud-based model we've tested it over phases, and it can be done pretty rapidly. And the data, the digital assistant to consumers is a really important part of this. So every employee in the organization gets the data, but you can also extend that to consumers, right? Partners and consumers. And that makes it very powerful for a wide range of scenarios and across most industries, especially if they're, consumer or business to consumer business models. So you can build new products or companies on top of your branded EAI OS. So this opens up an entirely new growth opportunity for a wide range of companies, lots of different scenarios. So these are just a few scenarios we've discussed. Most recently, a pharmacy chain to use the OS and then extend it to patient. They use OS for their own company, for their employees, for better efficiency, but then they extend it to patients for digital health, right? Because they want to invest and become more competitive because their competitors are becoming investing huge sums and so they saw the technology as a key. This is still a possible scenario that's under discussion. National insurance company is a home and family operating system. So you get the home, but also the individual's data for every individual in the family with its own proprietary security. So it's a very interesting scenario. Auto company operating system extended to cars and consumers. So you could do fleet management. You could have, your employees in a company, and you have a data that is installed in the car, or it could be an auto company use the KOS as the auto company operating system. It's a great scenario. We've had a few discussions, some with new car companies that were getting started. Computer device OS and multiple device OS. So this is not a computer operating system, right? It's human-centered, data-centered, human-centered, but it works well in those kinds of scenarios. So you can use them as a corporate-wide computer that is white labeled to your own company. Phones, multiple different devices, could be exercise apps, lots of different scenarios. And it includes communications, right? Own security, own governance. So the great use cases. Big pharma R&D to accelerate discoveries. We've actually had a few of those discussions over time. Again, it's a great use case. Franchise companies that use the OS and then internally for their enterprise and then extend it to franchisees. And then franchisees could extend it to their consumers. So that opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. Now, it's important to realize that some very, very large, like Fortune 100 companies have invested billions of dollars trying to essentially recreate this. And really, with the one of the reasons it costs so much for them is that they've got all these different data silos, and it's not an efficient. The enterprise is not set up in an efficient way. They don't have optimized data across their enterprise already, so that conversion is extremely expensive. And frankly, a lot of it is wasted. But in our case, it's a highly refined system, 27 years of R&D, turnkey. First day, you're creating high quality data that is pre-optimized for AI. So this hits the ground running. Now, it takes a while to build up large enough data to do generative AI, unless you already have data that can be used and populated in the system. But then we can license data. So this is a very, very inexpensive with very little upfront costs. It's essentially an enterprise license, right? Enterprise-wide license, and then a per person, like any other kind of software, SaaS and software as a service model. So that's those are the really good reasons for doing it. And then it's easily adaptive by the organization to tailor it to their own needs, right? So it's like I said, this is what I would do if I was a Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company. This would be the model that I would do for sure, no doubt about it. So multinational supply chain ecosystem. We've actually had a few of those discussions. Some are ongoing. A very interesting use case. So you can extend like a subsidiary or at least in terms of governance to your supply chain members and hook them up to the same system. And the people are extended in the knowledge networks, their people. So it gives you a lot more visibility, a lot more accuracy into what's going on, the ability to communicate, share knowledge and data in a secure environment, and then also optimize for artificial intelligence, so machine learning, deep learning algorithms, and also risk management functions. There's several functions in that we'll get into. Now, banking, insurance, healthcare, wellness, education, retail, governments, extended to consumers. We've done deep dives in most industries over the years. So note though that KYield, we do not have an internal VC fund, so we can only consider scenarios that are at least partially funded. So we're hit up all the time by startups that are unfunded, and I had a background in venture capital, and they think that we're going to fund them to do this. We can't do that, right? We know a lot of venture capital firms and others, investors that have interest in our system and our customers, and we may be able to help, but first we need a financial commitment, right? This is not a charity. We're not. We have 27 years of R&D to cover, so we need that revenue stream to be able to, in a serious commitment, before we can engage and help. So KOS is a Spear AI system, so safe, productive, efficient, accurate, and responsible. I recently did a paper on this on Spear AI systems that was very well received, downloaded by, for example, big tech, thousands of employees each in big tech companies downloaded it. That's on our website. And this is available on our website, even our homepage. You can go to it right now. It's up there. There's also a video like this that is accompanying it. And then there's another recent article that's interesting: why your life, career, or business may depend on data valves. So in the Dana digital assistant, we have data valves to control the quality and quantity. That's part of the patented system. And that may be of interest. We've done dozens of papers and articles over the years, hundreds actually. So the CKO app, just very briefly, that is the enterprise-wide governance for its admin app. So it provides strong governance for the entire KOS across the enterprise or ecosystem if it's extended to partners and consumers, controls access to data, apps, and networks, proprietary, multiple types of proprietary security, and includes the ability to extend it to subsidiary and partners. So they get essentially a subsidiary CKO app. SET does a lot of the same things, but for security purposes, it's you have a parent and then you have a hierarchy. Simple natural language interface on all of our apps. So this is a no-code system, should be viewed as your base universal system. Now it can be, further tailored. Data scientists can use the data to run all kinds of different scenarios internally that are very interesting. But for our system, doesn't require any code work. It's no code. Curriculum management, that is a good option that you can have set up curriculum for your organization, franchise company, educational, or just any kind of company. Managed by any authorized team member. We call it the CKO app, Chief Knowledge Officer app, but you don't need a CKO to do it. You need, we highly recommend a small team has access to it and led by a highly trusted senior manager, somebody that really knows the organization enterprise-wide. Ideally, it would be the CEO, right? But that's not possible in a lot of scenarios. So could be someone else, probably one individual identified as the leader, and then we can run certification and training on that is necessary. Although it's not necessary, it's pretty easy to use, so people can pick it up very quickly. So Dana is our digital assistant with the neuroanatomical analytics, long in R&D, low cost and risk, high ROI. This is not like the LLM chatbots. We have our newest function is generative AI, but long before we had many other functions in it. So it produces very high quality data, automated augmentation, ultra personalized learning, knowledge sharing and networks with tailored graphs. That is very efficient. It has built-in risk management prevention capabilities. If you have a problem in your supply chain, it automatically pops up, shows up on your Dana module. It's as far as I know, it's the most advanced digital assistant in the world for multiple functions for the knowledge worker. Multiple types of security, simple to use natural language, again, runs on internally generated and licensed data. So I feel very strongly on this copyright issue. I've come out publicly against the LLM firms and training on copyrighted. Essentially, they're trying to transfer the world's knowledge base and monetize it. Some were attempting to monopolize it. That is a no-go. The knowledge base costs tens of trillions of dollars over in every industry. It's kind of ridiculous, in my view. Governments are going to be forced to act even if SCOTUS Supreme Court doesn't. That's my view on it. So Gardner just came out with a note this week saying that generative AI adoption is being slowed because of the copyright issue, and they expect that to accelerate over the next year, 2, 3 years. And they advise that to their clients to choose their vendors appropriately, right? So I wrote an article on my enterprise AI newsletter on LinkedIn. What is your backup plan if SCOTUS rules that the LLMs are infringing, right? Generative AI. And if you're using now you can use the models on your own data like some companies are, but if you're using the data from those chatbots and you invest a lot of money and your people become, accustomed to using it, that could all go away if SCOTUS rules, as I and many others expect they will, that this is copyright infringement. So that's something to keep in mind. Very important issue. Runs internally generated licensed data. Customer retains ownership and control of data at all times. Pre-optimized for AI and generative AI. And so the generative AI function is the newest. We announced it last summer. And that's just sort of a function of how much data you have, right? The KOS produces high quality data that is really, really good. It's pre-optimized for NLP, for doing generative AI functions. But you don't instantly have all that pre-optimized data, right? We can do certain things. We can provide it with synthetic data. We've done that. We've tested it. You can license data. We have relationships with media companies and that sort of thing. A lot of companies are already licensing trade data. They already have internal things. You can include those in your, and if you have any existing data, most companies do that are high quality, then that data set can be used for generative AI, right? So but each one is different. So you kind of have to take that separately and look at each one to see which is the best way to go. So again, customer owned, no copyright infringement, expected to be compliant in the EU and US. The EU laws, KOS is very well aligned with that. And then, any US regulations that they come, we don't expect them to be more severe than the EU. And so we expect it to be compliant. Automated letters, reports, presentations. And there's 2 papers and videos that I did over the last year that are linked in this talk, also found on our website, that you'll want to, if you have any interest at all, you'll want to view those. And this is my contact here, Mark Montgomery, founder and CEO, KYield. And we've been working on this for decades. Again, just to sum it up, the white label KOS is, I believe, the best option for a variety of different scenarios for customers to use. And it makes no sense to try and recreate the wheel when you already have a refined enterprise AI operating system with nearly 3 decades of head start on basic and applied R&D that includes many of the best scientists in the world. Started with the world's leading knowledge network. That's when I conceived it, running Gwen back in the late 1990s. And so this is highly refined. It can be delivered in turnkey manner in a very affordable way. So it makes perfect sense to go this route rather than trying to reverse engineer, build your own. So with that, we'll end this little video, and please contact me if you have any questions, would like to explore different options. Thank you.